What's up YouTube, Seth here. Sorry it's been a while guys, there's a lot going on right now with coronavirus. I am laid off, so I have lots of time to do YouTube videos, but unfortunately it just hasn't been something I've been called to do. I realized that I haven't made a video talking about my last surgery in November, so I wanted to update you guys about that. And also there are quite a few questions I received on Instagram and that I continue to receive on Instagram. So I wanted to cover those questions here. It makes a lot more sense for me to make a video that people can watch instead of constantly just responding to people individually. So with that all being said, I'm gonna go into my experience in November, all of the procedure, what I had done, and then I'll talk about my plans for upcoming surgeries as well. So my last surgery in November was another debulking procedure. So I had more liposuction done, and then I had plication. So essentially they do the liposuction, they take fat out of my penis, and then they bring the tissue closer together, kind of tightening the penis. Just to kind of recap, guys, my only issue that I've been dealing with has been huge girth, and that is something you can definitely count on experiencing with ALT. I think it's more common than not. It has to do with how much fat you have in your thighs. So I really wasn't anticipating for this issue because I kind of perceive myself to be lean enough to not really have to worry too much. Like I knew I'd probably have to get 1, maybe 2 debulking procedures, but I really didn't think that I'd be getting 4, 5 debulking procedures. I started off at 10 inches in girth. A lot of people do not believe me, but I have no reason to lie about that. And I'm currently 6.5 inches now after my last surgery in November. So I had my testicular implants put in, which I'm super happy about. I really love them. And then I had more debulking. So now I'm a lot more comfortable with the aesthetics of my penis and sort of my everyday life living with it, I guess, because before especially the bulge was so big that it just felt really alien to me, and I was really concerned about like people staring, which happened a lot. I didn't really know what to wear. Couldn't really wear jeans, but I couldn't really wear sweatpants and stuff because it was so visible. And even wearing like compression underwear, like really tight briefs and stuff wasn't really that helpful. It just always looked like I had a massive boner. So that has drastically gotten better. I still have a really big bulge, but it looks a lot more normal. So yeah. Now I'm thinking I'm going to be getting another debulking procedure. I have a tentative date in March with Dr. Crane again in Austin, Texas. I was really happy with him, and I was really happy with my experience. I know that there's a few people out there who have had bad experiences with him, and I don't want to invalidate that, but I personally have high regard for the guy and the clinic, and I had no issues, and he did an amazing job. So I think, like I've talked about this before, how this was possibly the last surgery for me, but I'm still quite large, and I could live with it as it is, but my only issue now is my sex life. So I want to be at a more comfortable size for sex. So I'm thinking if I could reduce it by another inch or even 1.5 inches, I'd be perfectly where I want to be. To give you guys an idea, I'm bigger than most porn stars in terms of the girth of my penis now. I'm just under 6 inches in length, so I'm not super long, but it's very fat. It's very big. And for a lot of people, that's probably like a really cool idea to have a really big penis, but I don't have the ability to become hard. And so like penetrative sex is gonna be difficult. I haven't tried yet, and I know that a lot of you want to hear about my experience, but regardless of whether I can or can't, I still think I want to have another surgery because I'm just a little bit bigger than feel like I would like to be. And then I think I'm going to hold off on surgeries for a while because I'm still really unsure about the erectile device. I know that a lot of people have had really good experiences with the erectile device, but then there's also a lot of people who have had a lot of complications. They're not perfected yet, so I would like to wait and kind of see where things go, and maybe make a decision in a few years about that one. I really feel like I want to give my body a break, and I've been going on about that quite a few times, but it seems like every time I have a surgery, I'm like, okay, I'm not much closer to where I want to be, so I might as well keep pushing through while I'm young. But with the erectile device, I feel like it puts me in a position where, like, if I'm one of the unlucky people that experiences some complications, I could unfortunately have like another string of surgeries to be dealing with, where that's not necessarily something I need to do. I could still have penetrative sex without it, just by wrapping my dick with like Cobain tape and then putting a condom on. And I'm not even sure that that's not something I could do now. I haven't tried, but I know that it's probably going to be very painful for my partner, so I don't want to have that for the rest of my life. The most important thing for me with phalloplasty was dealing with my dysphoria, being able to pee standing up, but certainly like having penetrative sex was huge as well. So, all right, let's get to the Q&A. First question is, what are my thoughts about abdominal phalloplasty? I don't really have too much to say on this subject because this wasn't a procedure that I actually researched. I know of a few people who have had abdominal phalloplasty, and I can't really speak too much about their experience, but I don't know that they're completely happy with it. The thing about abdominal phalloplasty is there's no microsurgery, so for most people, I don't think they experience very much sensation in their penis. Sensation is kind of a difficult topic because I think everybody's experience is quite different. But with RFF and ALT phalloplasty, you have a much higher chance of more sensation in your penis. That is why those were my two top choices. So if that's something that you're looking into, I would just recommend really researching it, asking a lot of questions, and make sure that that's the best choice for yourself. Because at the end of the day, sensation isn't always the determining factor for everyone. So the next question is, how did I afford surgery? So I live in Canada. Our medical system pays for the medical portion of this. So thankfully, because I think overall it's been over $200,000 American money for everything that I've had done so far. With that being said, I've had to pay for my own accommodations, for my own flights, for my own food, for my own sort of travel, touristy stuff, like all that stuff, medications. And I think there was another question that tags along with this. How much did I spend? So I'm gonna guess over the past 2 years for phalloplasty expenses overall, it's been about $15,000 to $20,000 maybe. It's been a lot of money, a lot of time off work. It's kind of financially exhausting, but that's part of the process, guys. I met a guy who was able to work remotely, and it seems like that's more common now with coronavirus. So if you're one of those lucky people that can work from your computer, you probably won't have to worry as much. But for me, I had to take a lot of time off work, which really, really impacted my finances. So some of it I did save for, maybe like half, and then the other half is all debt that I've incurred that I'm still paying off. I'm very close to paying it off now. But if I have another surgery, it's gonna, put me back in a position where all my savings are gone and I have to start over. So that is the reality for most people, unless you're able to work remotely or you're very wealthy. That's just how it is. Next question, was it worth it? Did I have any complications? Yes, it was worth it, but it is a process, guys, and it's not an easy process. And it's taken me a long time. Like, after my first surgery, I wasn't as happy as I am now. And I think it's fairly obvious based on what I've talked about with the size and everything like that. After my first surgery as well, I wasn't really able to walk very well. The healing process was terrible, not just with like my genital area, but also with my legs. They were really brutal. And I didn't have my glands yet, so my penis essentially just looked like this really big tube, which I knew that's what it was going to look like after the first stage, but I guess it's different when you see it for the first time and it's on your body. So I wasn't always happy like I am now, but I did kind of accept the situation that I was in. I knew that it was going to be a process and a journey, and it's gotten a lot better over time. The only complication that I've dealt with is the huge girth situation, and then I did have a wound in my sort of taint area that has had to be fixed twice. And I don't think I really helped myself, because after my first stage, it was really, really small, and then I went back to working out, I think, too soon. I wasn't going heavy, I wasn't using free weights, I was just using machines. Think like old people workouts, that's what I've been doing. Up until now, and it got a little bit bigger just from the pressure. So that's another thing too, guys, that I don't think anybody asked about. A lot of people ask me if they're gonna lose all of their muscle and where they're at, like their strength and stuff. You will absolutely not be at the same level of fitness. I think that's so unrealistic to think that you could keep your level of fitness while going through this. Even if you have zero complications, you're not going to be able to work out as often as you're used to and at the same level and intensity. And I would not even recommend working out at all until you're healed and then slowly working your way back up. It doesn't mean that you can't get back to where you're at, but as you guys can see, and I'm sure you've noticed, I'm nowhere near where I was before. And steroids or not, it doesn't matter. This whole process takes a lot out of you physically and mentally. It's very exhausting. So I think if you're really that concerned about your physique, maybe think, okay, which is the priority to me? My physique and sort of my athletic conditioning and my strength and stuff like that, or having a penis. Because if you're going to choose your fitness level and stuff, that's fine, but you can't have both. It's not manageable, it's not possible. You kind of have to put that on the back burner for a while, focus on healing and recovery, and then you can get back to that eventually. The next question is, can I still orgasm? I've gone over this already in videos. Yes, I can. I don't have any issues with that. I can get off in two ways, either by jerking off or by like kind of touching around my balls. So yeah, there's no issue there. Did I choose my size? Yes and no. I chose the length, but with ALT, with any surgery, you cannot choose your girth. That's dependent on the amount of fat that is in the area. So with RFF, I've gone over this before, the skin is quite thin. There's not, typically a lot of fat on your forearm, so you're gonna have less girth than you would if you got ALT, where you got a lot more fat on your legs, and it's gonna be a lot thicker. Even if you end up like me, with a much larger girth, over time that can be reduced. It's a process, it's very difficult because it means a lot of surgeries, but you'll eventually get to where you want to be. With RFF, you're kind of stuck with what you get. So if you end up with 4 inches and it's very skinny or small, that's what it is. Some people try fat grafting, but that doesn't really work. It's not like liposuction where there's like a direct noticeable results. Usually what I've heard from a lot of people's experiences and what I've also like sort of read about, it just kind of absorbs back into your body. It's not a permanent thing. So if you want something sort of above average, you might want to look into ALT for that reason. But with that being said, if you are looking for less surgeries overall and you're not really as concerned with the size, RFF would probably be a better option because you're not going to be dealing with any girth issues. The only thing you may be dealing with is like other complications that may need surgical intervention, which you won't know until you have surgery. It's just how your body heals, right? Can I get a boner? Nope, I cannot. In the future, if I get an erectile device, then I will be able to make it stiff. But as for now, all I'm stuck with is other methods of making it hard with more like exterior things, like the Cobain tape and putting a condom on. Or the elator I might try after my next surgery, but I'm not sure. Any plans for upcoming surgeries? I have answered this. How is healing? So I'm completely healed right now from my surgery in November. I have been for quite a few months. I am really lucky in that I heal very well and very quickly. But with that being said, it's a process. It takes time, and it's not always easy. I already answered how much did I spend? A lot of money. How many operations does it take? This is very individual, guys. For me, I'm gonna be at like 5 or 6 surgeries by the end of it. For some people, they can be done in 2. It really just depends. It's kind of like the luck of the draw and also which procedure you choose. How did it impact my mental health? That's a good question. Not well originally, and it wasn't because I felt like I made the wrong decision, although I did question that at times after the first stage, just because of all of the difficulties associated with the first stage. So I was quite depressed and I felt very isolated, just because I was always at home. I wasn't really able to go out. I didn't really see a lot of my friends, and then I was also going through a lot of issues with my ex at the time, which really kind of made things a lot worse than they probably would have been if I wasn't dealing with her in that situation. So I would say expect to have some sort of negative emotions around the process, some frustrations, some resistance, but overall it's been a journey of healing, and I'm feeling so much better now than I was prior to surgery. It's just that it wasn't like an instant thing. It took time to get there. Did I have any urethral complications? No. I've been really lucky. I haven't had any fistulas. I haven't had any strictures or anything like that, which are, you know, fairly common. I think most people, if they come into any complications, it's usually like an open wound, like a fistula or something that's related to the urethra. So that's another thing too that you kind of have to think about before surgery. The fact that, you know, if you do have urethral complications, you may not be able to pee standing up for a while, and you may need to have a catheter in for quite a while too. Those are all the questions, guys. I think I covered everything about my experience. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm sorry this video is kind of long. I hope you guys are well. Stay safe. Love you all. Peace out.